So I have some good news amidst all the shit that we're going through in the world. The congressional Democrats in the United States have proposed a new bill called Justice in Policing Act of 2020. The US Democrats in Congress, they have proposed sweeping legislation that is going to reform the American police departments. And this bill is going to make it easier to prosecute police who use excessive force or lethal force. It's also going to ban carotid holds and chokeholds. Another thing it does is that it changes the qualified immunity protection. So what qualified immunity did was that it would often protect officers from being held liable in civil suits. So what I mean is that oftentimes they would be able to get away with paying out the victims that they wronged, either through like excessive force, or they would often get off from paying the families of a person that they killed. So it would change that so they wouldn't be immune from civil suits. Another thing it does is that it's proposing to create a national police registry, which is going to be a database where complaints can be filed against police officers. It's important to note that it was introduced on Monday, January 8th by Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. And it was also co-sponsored by Senators Kamala Harris of California and Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. This bill would also mandate federal police forces to use body cameras, and it would also mandate marked police cars to use dashboard cameras as well. In fairness, I do think that they could also have the city police departments use body cameras too, so I hope that they include that as well. Also, they're announcing that in this proposed bill that no-knock warrants be illegal. Now, as some of you might know already, a no-knock warrant is how a black woman named Breonna Taylor was killed back in March of this year. It's disgusting what happened to her because, for one, she was completely innocent, and second of all, they didn't even knock on the door. The cops, they didn't knock on the door and say, please open up. Nope, they didn't do that. They just took guns, shot dozens of bullets, 8 of them entered her body, and she was killed. Promising paramedic, her life was just taken senselessly by thugs, and they're still out on the loose, I believe. They haven't even lost their jobs for all I know. So that's a good thing that they've proposed a ban on no-knock warrants, which also violates the Constitution of America. It would also make it easier to call for federal funds to be withheld from police forces who do not make similar reforms. And also another big one is it's proposing to make lynching a federal hate crime. It says a lot about America that that's not illegal yet. It even limits the sale of military weapons to local police departments in the country. And it will also give the Department of Justice the authority to investigate state and local police for evidence of department-wide bias and racially motivated policing. So all of these things are very good. It's a large step in the right direction. But I do think that it should go a step further in some aspects. There still really needs to be a discussion on allocating the resources that are going into city police departments and putting them into social programming like housing, mental health counseling. Because the police, they're way too overfunded, and what the hell are they doing?
Peaceful protesters have been tear-gassed in Iowa, and police swing batons at people who witnesses say were simply standing with their hands up.
State and local governments in the states have spent $115 billion in 2017 alone on policing. Just to give you another figure, the US spends around $60 billion a year on incarceration. And policing typically comprises 1/3 to 60% of annual budgets for various cities across the country. That's obviously a huge problem. And in New York City, for example, they spend more on policing than on health, homeless services, youth development, and workforce development combined. And mind you, the crime rates in New York City have been steadily decreasing over the years. So you tell me, why the hell does their police have to be so militarized like that? A lot of this money should be relocated, as I said earlier, to housing, to social programmings of that nature, education, right? There's some school districts where they don't even have enough textbooks, and these police are having bulletproof vehicles and assault rifles and drones, all for what? Like, you shouldn't be using this type of weaponry with your own citizens. It's something truly inhumane about that. And also, it has to be said that the police, they're often doing jobs that they're just not qualified to do. They can't even de-escalate, for one, and they're also being called to the scenes of overdoses or where people have mental breakdowns. So oftentimes they'll end up killing someone that shouldn't have been killed. Their problem should have been addressed with, like, let's say a mental health worker or a social worker. More money should be spent on those services as opposed to the police, because they oftentimes have just exacerbated situations and many people have had their lives ruined because of it. Finally, the Democrats have done more than just simply pandering, even though they did have that stupid photo op where they wore that kente clothing, but that's a topic for another day. As always, thank you again for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, make sure to hit that like button and click on the subscribe button. Click on the bell so you never miss a notification. Until next time, guys.